Governor Calvo thought everything was moving forward in a spirit of compromise.
It took me by surprise.
As we reported, the Democrat majority late Wednesday afternoon during a second special session swapped out the contents of the governor's Bill 12S with language contained in a newly introduced Bill 304. The substitute Bill 12S was passed by the Democrats, separating the bond from the budget.
If it's workable, I will sign it. If it's not workable, I will not.
While Governor Calvo continues reviewing the new substitute bill, he isn't giving up hope in paying out all past due tax refunds.
We've sent our bill over to the legislature, and we're hopeful then that we can move in a direction so that we can finally put these past due tax refunds that are owed to the people into ancient history.
Governor Calvo called lawmakers into a third special session today to discuss Bill 13S, which is his latest version of his $343 million bond proposal. Republicans who have been pushing for this day since budget discussions began in August were finally glad to see the administration finally being allowed to present their plan on the floor. Minority Leader Senator Frank Bloss Jr.
I hope that we find some common ground so that we can finally come to a consensus and finally come to some finality with this issue.
Vice Speaker B.J. Cruz, meanwhile, felt it best to wait until January after Washington completes cuts to federal spending. Actions, he believes, could impact Guam.
We're right now barely able to make ends meet. Any amount lost, and we are really up a creek.
Senator Rory Respicio, in the meantime, said he'll sit back, be quiet, and make the administration work for the 8 votes needed for the governor's $343 million bond proposal to pass.
Because all of the questions that I asked, all of the answers that were given to the questions I asked has caused me to just say all we should borrow is $180 million.
During special session, GITA's Carl Pangilinan outlined where the proceeds of the $343 million will go toward $272.4 million for past due tax refunds, $20 million for COLA, $18.3 for health insurance. Likewise, Governor's Chief Fiscal Policy Officer Bernie Artero stressed the need for the bond, telling the body that currently the government is facing a $100 million cash shortfall for this year, adding the administration is currently working on a stabilization plan, which includes the bond, reorganization, and downsizing. Artero said they are taking all factors into consideration, including what may happen in Washington. Governor Calvo, in the meantime, continues to make his plea to the legislature.
I just came from a funeral this morning, and when you see an elderly woman crying to me, begging for her tax refund because her son has been evicted from his house, and she's angry at me, I'm imploring the members of this legislative body to remember the roots, remember the grassroots, remember who they serve, and they serve the people of Guam.